Hey, what's up guys? Matt here coming to you from Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. So it is my favorite time of year right now, and that is when the new model launch is happening. So the 22 model launch is occurring this month. Some of the 22 model year motorcycles have already started landing in dealerships. As many of you know, the official global launch called Further and Faster will be airing on the 26th of this month. If you haven't already, you should sign up so you get to watch the global reveal on the 26th. It's all going to be online. It's going to be very similar to what they did last year. So typically speaking, Harley-Davidson, historically has always had a live dealer show for just the dealers where pretty much everything is all announced. Starting in the 21 model year, Harley-Davidson did a virtual launch and basically announced everything to the general public and the dealers at the same time. So they'll be sticking with that formula this year where they're going to basically announce all the new stuff to the world, the dealers, the customers, everybody at the same time. So like I said though, a lot of the 2022 model year motorcycles have already been shipped out and are landing in dealerships right now. The bikes that are being shipped out right now are considered what they call carryover models. So a lot of these bikes are bikes that we saw last year and they don't have any large significant changes being applied to them this year. So they're typically just small changes or they're just different colors that are available this model year. And so that's going to be the bulk of my video here, is going over a lot of the carryover models that we know Harley-Davidson has in their 22 model year lineup. And then after the 26th, when they have their Further Faster global launch, then I'm going to be covering a lot of the new stuff. So the new stuff is going to potentially be like new models or major changes being applied to current models that they haven't shown yet. One that I'll get out of the way first of all is the Lowrider S. We have yet to see a Lowrider S show up to the dealerships. So I'm assuming that there's probably going to be some significant changes applied to that bike. And also the CVOs. We have not seen any CVOs show up yet. They're not on the website. We don't know what they look like. Last model year we had a Street Glide, a Road Glide, an Ultra Limited, and a Tri Glide. So all I can do is assume that they're going to be doing those models again, but Harley-Davidson never really tells us which CVOs they're going to be doing every model year. So we'll have to wait and see on the 26th as to what CVOs are going to be launching as well. So let's jump right into this. So I'm going to go over all the bikes that have been confirmed at this point. All of these bikes are up on Harley-Davidson's website, so they are officially available. We've received a handful of bikes already, and so I'm going to be showing you guys some footage that I shot yesterday of the bikes that we have received so far, and also talking a little bit about bikes that we are not going to be seeing this model year. So let's first talk about bikes that we will not be seeing this model year. As many of you know, some of the bikes that have been discontinued in recent past, that isn't any new news per se, but still people ask me about these bikes, so I thought I'd just go over them really quickly. So the Breakout has been discontinued. It was discontinued at the beginning of last model year, I believe, and so we do not have the Breakout anymore. If you're looking for that big fat meaty tire in the rear, the 240, your only option at this point is the Fat Boy, because we do not have the FXDR either. That has been discontinued a couple years ago or something like that. Another bike that was kind of quietly discontinued as well is the Roadster. So the Roadster was the performance focused Sportster in that lineup, and while I'm talking about Sportsters, I might as well mention too, we no longer have the Iron 1200. So at this point, the only two air-cooled Evolution Sportsters that we have left in the lineup is the Iron 883 and the 48. We also have the new Sportster on the Revolution Max platform called the Sportster S, but as many of you know, that's a completely different animal. I'm assuming that's probably the future of the Sportster family for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Just a heads up guys, if you like the air-cooled Evolution Sportster that we've had for multiple decades, I would recommend getting one very soon. I'm not a fortune teller, but the writing is definitely on the wall with the air-cooled Evolution motor that it is not going to be around for very much longer. In the Softail family, the Slim is going away as well, which is kind of sad because I kind of like the nostalgic post-World War II era look of the Slim. We saw the Deluxe go away a little over a year ago, I want to say, so we haven't had the Deluxe for a while. I think the last model year with the Deluxe was probably the 2020 model year. That's another one that was definitely a Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson customer favorite. We just had a lot of guys building Viklas off of the Deluxe, and just a lot of guys like that full fender, old school 50s look to it. And then the other bike that has been a confirmed discontinue is the Sport Glide. So we saw the Sport Glide come out mid-model year in the 2018 model year, and this was Harley-Davidson's modern looking, touring capable Softail. So on the Sport Glide, we saw the detachable fairing on there, and we also saw those clamshell style bags that are color matched and painted. So to contrast that with like the Heritage is also like a touring capable Softail, from the factory. But with the Heritage, you have a lot more of that classic styling with the leather bags and the windshield, as opposed to that little quarter fairing that we see on the Sport Glide. The Sport Glide also had quite a bit of versatility. One of the main premises of the Sport Glide was the fact that you could basically transform the bike to just your slim down, chop down boulevard cruiser type of a style bike, and then without any tools you could clip on the fairing and the two saddlebags, and immediately you'd have a bike that was a little bit more touring focused and capable. So those are the bikes that we no longer have. Now let's jump into some of the brand new 22 model year Harley-Davidson motorcycles here. So guys, I get a little bit teary-eyed and choked up when I start talking about this, but I feel like we're coming to the end of the air-cooled Evolution Sportster era. For many model years there, we had like 5 or 6 different Sportster models within the lineup. It represented a huge portion of the overall Harley-Davidson lineup. Now on Harley-Davidson's website, we don't even have a Sportster category there anymore. I'm assuming it's probably because we're in a transitional time right now where to call two completely different motorcycles both Sportsters could probably be very confusing for people. So right now Harley-Davidson has the air-cooled Evolution Sportsters in the cruiser category lumped in with the Softails, and then there's a sport category which has the new Sportster S in there. But like I already mentioned, we're down to 2 Sportsters. We've got the Iron 883. It comes in 3 different colors for the 22 model year. You've got the denim black, you've got the gunship gray, which I'm showing you here, beautiful color by the way, and the third color that I haven't seen in person yet on this bike is the white sand pearl, but from the pictures and photos it looks pretty dang nice as well. This bike hasn't really seen any significant changes since I want to say like the 2016 model year. I believe in the 16 model year they changed out the suspension on the Sportsters and made it a little bit nicer. Even the logos on the tank have been the same, I want to say, for like 3 years or so. So the Sportster Iron 883 remains relatively unchanged for this model year. The second of the 2 remaining air-cooled Evolution Sportsters is the 48. I want to say the 48 came out in the 2012 model year, and the 48 is your peanut tank fat tire Sportster. So a real big fat profile front and rear tire on this Sportster, and you got that 2.1 gallon peanut tank on there. Again, this bike has gone relatively unchanged since I want to say about the 2016 model year when they made some suspension updates and a couple other things. The 48 comes in vivid black like I'm showing you here. It also comes in the all new color, the Reef Blue, and then like the Iron 883, it comes in the brand new white sand pearl, so the 3 colors. Next up, let's talk about the new generation Sportster. So we've got the Sportster S. Currently right now, this is the newest model in the Harley-Davidson lineup. I'm sure that's going to be changing very soon, but if you haven't already, make sure you check out my in-depth review on the Sportster S where I break down all the details. Basically, in a nutshell, this is built on Harley-Davidson's Revolution Max platform, the same platform we saw the Pan America, the adventure touring bike, being built on. They made a couple tweaks on the engine. It's called the 1250T, so it emphasizes more of that low-end torque feeling to it. This is a little bit lighter than the Pan America as well. For those of you who in the past have said that Harley-Davidsons were slow motorcycles, I would definitely invite you to ride the Sportster S. It will change your mind very quickly. It appears that this platform is the future of one of Harley-Davidson's most iconic families of motorcycles, and that is the Sportster. I'll be really curious to see what happens in the future with the Sportster family. So you've got 3 colors on the bike this year. 2 of them are all new. Of course, you've got your vivid black, then you've got the white sand pearl, which is a new color, and then the third color you see is called the mineral green metallic. I think this color looks really cool, especially with the contrast you see between the green and the chocolate satin finishes that you see highlighting the motor. The Softail Standard is back for another year. You get it in the one and only color, the vivid black, and the Softail Standard basically represents Harley-Davidson's blank canvas in the Softail world that also is its lowest price point. So if you're someone that just wants to get into the Softail platform at the lowest price point possible, the Softail Standard is for you. This bike is very closely related to the Street Bob. However, this does have the 107 Milwaukee 8 in it. It's got a lot of just the plain Jane finishes on the engine. This model year, there was one change. You've got an Annihilator wheel on there now. It's like a dull satin finish on the Annihilator wheel, so you no longer have the spokes anymore, but the Softail Standard is back for the 2022 model year. The Street Bob has made its way back into the 2022 model year lineup. The Street Bob has really become a staple in the Harley-Davidson world since 2006 when it was first introduced. introduced. And last year, Harley-Davidson gave the Street Bob some pretty significant upgrades as well, namely the 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine, the passenger pillion, the passenger pegs, and some new tank graphics as well. So the bike is back. It got the Annihilator wheels, much like the Softail Standard, so it has now moved to a mag wheel as opposed to the spoke wheels. The Annihilators, by the way, were a parts and accessory catalog wheel now for I want to say 2 or 3 years. So it looks like they've taken these parts and accessory wheels and just made them standard OEM equipment on the Street Bob and the Softail Standard and ditched the spoke wheels. Me personally, when I think of a bobber, I think of spoke wheels for sure. So in that respect, I feel like the Street Bob is taking one step away from the whole bob image and style. However, me personally, if I were to buy one, I would prefer the Annihilator wheels. I just prefer a mag wheel over a spoke wheel. Plus, I think they look pretty dang nice. On the Street Bob, you have a black finish on the wheels as opposed to like that dull satin finish that you get on the Softail Standard. The Street Bob comes in 4 different colors, all of which I think look really sharp. You've got the vivid black. You've also got the Gauntlet Gray metallic, not to be confused with the Gunship Gray. The Gauntlet Gray is a color that we've seen in past model years. I think it's a little bit lighter shade if I'm not mistaken. You've also got a really nice red line red, as they call it, that is a nice contrast with the blacked out nature of the bike. And then you've also got the Fastback Blue, which I think is a really rad, like really light, almost borderline neon blue color. In my opinion, the Street Bob has always been a very solid choice in the lineup, a good seller, especially last year with the 114 cubic inch engine. I think it's a really good competitor for the ever popular Lowrider S, and the bike starts at 15.3 as opposed to the 18 grand that the Lowrider S comes in at, so you can save yourself some coin and you get a fast bike with a 114 in it. So I think it's a really nice offering and a good option for a lot of buyers. The Fat Bob is back for the 22 model year, and it is pretty much unchanged from the previous model years. We do have some new paint schemes on the tank this year, which I think do look very sharp. Me personally, since the redesign, I feel like the Fat Bob has been one of the best looking Softails in the lineup. I just love the out-of-the-box styling that Harley-Davidson went with on the Fat Bob. You've got kind of like this post-apocalyptic look with the rectangular headlamp. You got a upswept exhaust with a bronze heat shield on the header pipe. You got taller suspension in the rear. Really cool laser etched Harley-Davidson lettering on the wheels. I just think the Harley-Davidson designers really took a chance and did something a little bit different with the Fat Bob, and I still really like the styling a lot. However, I feel like with the Lowrider S, it's cannibalized a lot of the would-be sales on the Fat Bob. When the Softail platform was redesigned and combined with the Dynas in the 2018 model year, the Fat Bob was postured as the performance-based bike in the group, but ever since the Lowrider S came out and had the 114 on it, the inverted forks, the dual disc brakes and all that stuff, at that point it just pretty much became a styling choice. And I feel like there's still a lot more of the traditional Harley-Davidson buyers out there, especially in that scene when you've got all the club scene, the Dyna Bros and all that stuff. A lot of them are going to far prefer the look of the Lowrider S to the Fat Bob. Me personally, if I was a Softail buyer and a Softail rider, I'd probably get the Fat Bob just because it is a little bit more radical. It's a little bit more outside the box. And in a world where there's a ton of Lowrider S's out there, being different to me, I think would be worth getting the Fat Bob in and of itself. So let's talk about the other fat member of the Harley-Davidson family. We've got the Fat Boy here. To me, the Fat Boy is the most recognizable and the most well-known bike in the Harley-Davidson lineup. I would even argue that the Fat Boy is the most iconic American cruiser in motorcycling history. I doubt Harley-Davidson will ever get rid of this motorcycle. I also think that the Fat Boy is probably one of the most beautiful bikes that Harley-Davidson makes as well. In the 22 model year, Harley-Davidson offers the Fat Boy in 3 different colors. You've got the vivid black, you've got the brand new Reef Blue, and then you've got the Midnight Crimson and Vivid Black two-tone. One fairly significant change that we see on the bike this year is in the wheels. So the Fat Boy has always been known for its solid mag wheels. In the 2018 model year, they obviously redesigned the wheels with the new Softail frame update. They call them the Lakester wheels. But in the 22 model year, you've actually got cutouts now, so you don't have a completely solid rim extending all the way from the hub all the way out to the edges of the wheel anymore. Personally, I think it looks good. I think the wheels look good. I am a little bit surprised that they deviated from the solid mag wheels. I would be very curious to find out exactly why they did that. Is it a styling thing? Is it a functional thing? For those of you who have watched my videos in the past talking about the Fat Boy, there's always been this big controversy or myth around crosswinds going down the highway on a Fat Boy. A lot of people want to argue that because the wheels are solid, that it catches the wind a lot easier and this bike gets blown around around in high crosswinds. Me personally, I've been saying for years that this is a myth, but I wonder if so many people have it ingrained in their heads that they think that the wheels catch the wind like a parachute, that Harley-Davidson put cuts in the wheels just to dispel that perception that people have and potentially sell more of these things. I don't know. That's definitely a question that I'm going to be asking the Harley-Davidson folks. By the way, guys, definitely check out my video next week. I have a special guest on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be sitting down with Brad Richards, the VP of Styling and Design at Harley-Davidson Motor Company, and this is one of the questions that I'm going to be asking him. So stay tuned for that video where I sit down with Brad and we go over him and his career, and I ask him some of the hard questions about the Harley-Davidson bikes. To round out and finish off the Softail family, we've got the Heritage Classic. In the past couple years, the Heritage has had a few options. You could get it in either the 107 or the 114. On the 107, it came with the chrome trim, and with the 114 engine, it came in a black trim. This model year, you have quite a few factory options on this bike. The Heritage no longer comes in a 107 option, but on the 114 Milwaukee 8 setup, you can either pick to get the chrome trim or the black trim, and you can also choose whether or not you want laced wheels or if you want a new blacked out mag wheel. So there's a whole bunch of different combinations of paint color mixed and matched with a chrome finish or a black finish or a laced wheel or a black mag wheel. So if you go to the website and check out all the different color options, it's a serious smorgasbord of different options that you can pick. As a dealer, this is an ordering nightmare. That's okay though. But if you're someone that wants a very particular paint, engine finish, and wheel choice, it might be a little bit difficult. You might have to special order one. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. Do most of you prefer the spoke wheels on the Heritage, or do you prefer these new mag wheels that are on here? I'm seriously conflicted. I don't know what to order. I think the lace wheels have always been synonymous with the Heritage. However, I'm looking at these mag wheels right now, and I think they look pretty slick. The other thing that Harley-Davidson changed up a little bit is on the blacked out finishes. You have a combination of both the wrinkle black, which is like that textured black, and the gloss black. So they mix and match that, and they use a little bit more of the wrinkle black now. So the finishes and the textures of black are going to be different on the engine than they have been in the past years. My personal thoughts on the Heritage, I feel like it's a majorly underappreciated bike. I think if you're a rider that logs a lot of miles, goes on overnighters, can benefit from the storage space and the windshield on this bike, but you don't want to move up to the touring chassis and add over 100 pounds of weight to your motorcycle, so you want to stay on the Softail platform and log miles on it, then the Heritage makes a lot of sense. Let's move on now to the Pan America, the Adventure Touring. So first off, I want to start off just by saying all the skeptics, all the haters, all the naysayers, all the people that said that Harley-Davidson couldn't build a successful adventure touring bike, you're all wrong. You were all wrong. Harley-Davidson now has the best-selling adventure touring bike in the United States. It's got Motorcycle of the Year, Adventure Touring Bike of the Year by major motorcycle publications, motorcycle.com, Cycle World. To all the haters, in your frickin' face. That's all I can say. I got hundreds and hundreds of messages and comments about how Harley was never going to be able to do it. It was going to cost too much. It was going to be too heavy. It would just fall on its face. It would be a big failure by the motor company. Once again, in your face. You're all wrong. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what's changed for the 2022 model year. So seeing as the Pan America hasn't even been out one full year yet, I really didn't expect Harley-Davidson to make any major significant changes. You know, this is still the first year of Harley-Davidson's Revolution Max platform. They did make two small changes, and they did add a new color as well. So they've got the new two-tone. You've got that fastback blue and white sand pearl two-tone, which I think looks pretty dang nice. You no longer have the Deadwood green, but you do still have the Gauntlet gray returning for the second year, and of course you've got the Vivid black. And of course these are the colors on the Pan America Special, which far outsells the Pan America Standard. On the Pan America Standard, you just have your standard Vivid black. The other two slight changes on the Pan America are on the infotainment screen. They enlarged the font a little bit. I took a look at the screen because we did get one of the 22 model year Pan Americas in, and I feel like like, yeah, like the widgets where you can have like the 4 separate widgets on the home screen, it is a little bit larger, which is nice because one of the big complaints is people had a really hard time reading the information off the screen because it was so small. Honestly, if you didn't tell me about this change, I probably wouldn't have noticed, just because I want to say it's maybe 10% larger. Looking at them next to each other, you can tell it is a little bit bigger, and it does help a little bit with being able to see the information on the screen. So that's change 1. So change 2 is they lengthened the time that the hill hold mode can be engaged. This was actually a complaint that I had. I actually own a Pan America, so I've ridden them quite a bit. The hill hold mode, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, you basically squeeze the brake when you're at a standstill, like maybe a stoplight or something like that, and it locks up the rear brake so you don't roll forwards or backwards on a hill. However, on the 2021 model year, it only lasted for like 10 seconds, which was kind of a joke. You had to like re-squeeze it every 10 seconds, which kind of defeated the purpose of having it in the first place. So I guess in the 22 model year, what they did was they lengthened that up to like 3 to 5 minutes or something like that, which helps out a ton. I personally am wondering now if somehow they can do a software update and make it so the hill hold mode can be engaged 3 to 5 minutes on the 21 model year bikes as well, because I personally would really like that. But other than that, the Pan America is still the same bike. I personally am loving the Pan America right now. We recently did a trip out to Joshua Tree. It was a ton of fun, and I plan on doing more ride videos on the Pan America in this model year as well, so stay tuned for that stuff. Next up, let's move on to the touring chassis line. So the first bike we've got here is the Electra Standard. It is still the same blank palette, low price point touring bike. I want to say this bike was a mid-model year launch in either the 19 or 20 model year, I can't remember, but it really hasn't changed at all since it was released 2 or 3 years ago. It comes in the one color, the vivid black. It still has the 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8, has no radio, no speakers, no infotainment system. It's pretty much just your bare bones Electra Glide. It's the touring equivalent to the Softail Standard. I think the theory there for a while was that Harley-Davidson was pricing themselves out of sales, and so they came out with a couple of just bare bones bikes. Let me know if you guys like the Electra Standard. I personally don't see a huge need for this bike in the lineup. We at our dealership don't sell a ton of them. Let me know if you guys like it. This bike starts at $19,429. The regular Street Glide starts at $22,249. So for less than $3,000 more, you can have a Street Glide Standard and get the nicer chrome finishes, the infotainment system with the speakers. In my opinion, it's a no-brainer, but let me know what you guys think. So I think for the Road King, the Road Glide, and the Street Glide, I'm going to combine both the specials and the standards together to save a little bit of time. So for the Road King, you've got the standard and the special back for the 22 model year. The Road King Standard, you basically have the 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8. You've got the windshield, a little bit taller shock. You've got the passing lamps on there as well. So the Road King Standard is still your bike that has a little bit more utility than the special. The Road King Special is still your hot rod bagger, where it's a little bit more of a sleek custom bagger looking bike. You got the black finishes on there on the standard Road King. You have the chrome. On the special, you've got the 114. You've got the Prodigy wheels as well. Big 19-inch wheel in the front, 18-inch in the rear. Here I'm going to cycle through the different color options that you got, but for both of these bikes, they've virtually gone unchanged except for available colors on there. I keep wondering if Harley-Davidson is going to keep 2 Road Kings in the lineup, or if they're going to try to consolidate them at some point. Me personally, I think the Road King is a very significant bike in the lineup, and there's enough differentiation between these two bikes, I think, to justify having 2 different models. We still sell both of them, so there's definitely people on both sides of the spectrum. As far as people still liking the standard with the chrome, a little bit more utility to it, and then there's obviously a bunch of guys that like the special as well. The Batwing baggers are back with the Street Glide Special and the Street Glide Standard. The Street Glide Standard comes in chrome with the 107 cubic inch Milwaukee 8. To get the larger 6.5 inch infotainment system, it's considered a premium radio upgrade, so you do pay extra for that. On both of the bikes, you have the factory option of RDRS, the Reflex Defensive Rider System. They actually changed the name recently. Now they call it Rider Safety Enhancements. This is like your traction control, your torque drag slip control, the tire pressure monitoring system, and your hill hold mode. They did increase the price of that. It's now $1,025, I believe, to get this factory option. The Street Glide Special, just like last year, you have the option of getting it in chrome or black trim. You pay a little bit more for the black trim. If you guys remember, they actually gave the Street Glide and the Road Glide Specials a bit of a facelift last year, mostly cosmetic stuff. They changed the dash, like a sleeker looking dash, that you no longer have the gas cap in the center of the console. It's off to the right hand side there. They did other other things like a ventilator air cleaner, a chopped engine guard. On the Street Glide Special, they went to the LED Daymaker last year as well. They changed the badging on the tank. It's a little bit more of just a classic bar and shield badging. So they made some changes to give it a little bit more of that custom bagger look and feel. Here's a shot of the different colors available for both the standard and the special. The special is approximately like $5,000 more. It depends on how they're equipped, but roughly $5,000 more for the special. At our dealership, we probably sell close to 10 specials for every one standard we sell. So there's definitely a bigger demand for the special version. The Street Glide Special continues to be my favorite touring chassis motorcycle that Harley-Davidson makes, not including the CVOs. Right now I ride a 2018 Street Glide Special that I still love. Next up, let's jump into Harley-Davidson's fixed fairing shark nose bagger, the Road Glide and the Road Glide Special. So this is my personal favorite for the year. This is the Road Glide Special with the black trim in the gunship gray. Yes, I said gunship gray, much like the famous 2018 CVO Road Glide that made a huge splash in the Harley-Davidson world. There's already some early controversy in the 22 model year because Harley-Davidson pretty much never brings back a CVO color and applies it to a regular OEM bike. So the comment sections on YouTube and on Instagram are already pretty fired up about the fact that you can buy the gunship gray on a non-CVO Road Glide. This color is also available on the Street Glide Special as well. I think I showed an Iron 883 in this color as well, but this color on this bike with the black trim looks absolutely beautiful. By the way, we've got 2 of these on the showroom floor right now. Come take a look. You're going to be leaving on the bike. These things are absolutely gorgeous. You can pretty much take all the differences of the Street Glide Standard and Special and apply all of those differences directly to the Road Glide as well. So the Road Glide got a couple of those differentiating factors that I already mentioned on the Street Glide. Things like the new center console, the tank badging, the ventilator air cleaner, the chopped engine guard. The Specials have the option of either getting the black trim or the chrome trim. You've got stretched bags on the Special. The wheels are different on the Specials. The Specials have the Prodigy wheel. The Prodigy wheel has been out since the 20 model year, I want to say. So this is the 3rd year in a row that the Prodigy wheels have been on the Specials. 19-inch wheel in the front, 18-inch wheel in the rear. On the standard Street Glide and Road Glide, you've got the Enforcer wheels, which look pretty nice as well. But the Road Glide Special continues to be one of the top selling Harley-Davidson motorcycles out there. And it's pretty obvious why that is. These bikes are absolutely beautiful. They're a great Swiss Army knife of a bike. They're great out on the road. You can take them around town. Indians doing everything they can to try to copy this thing. The Road Glide has absolutely been immortalized in the performance bagger world as the starting platform of choice. Here's a shot of some of the available colors for both the standard and the special. And about the only thing that's changed on this bike besides the color options is you have a new transmission dipstick. You got a new transmission dipstick in most of the Milwaukee 8 bikes, by the way. It's made out of a new composite material. Pretty exciting stuff. Let's jump into Harley-Davidson's granddaddy touring machines, the Ultra Limited and the Road Glide Limited. So if you went back about 3 years ago, the Road Glide full dresser was still being called the Road Glide Ultra, and there are a few key differences on the bikes. The Ultra Limited had a few creature comforts extra that the Road Glide Ultra didn't have. And then a couple years ago, Harley-Davidson decided to give the Road Glide Ultra the Limited treatment, and now they are both called Limited. So you got the Ultra Limited with the Batwing fairing on there, and you've got the Road Glide Limited with the Shark Nose fairing on there. So the bikes are pretty much identical with the exception of the fairing, much like the Road Glide and the Street Glide. You can get them in either the chrome trim or the blacked out trim. It costs more for the black. It's close to about $1,800 if you want the blacked out version. They've got the Slicer 2 wheels, which are pretty dang nice. They're new as of, I want to say, like a couple years ago. So once again, carryover models that didn't really receive any significant changes. They do obviously have new color options. In a nutshell, the Limiteds are the bikes that you want to get if you're all about touring. You want the comfort, you want the storage space, you want the utility that comes with these bikes. They got heated grips, taller windshields, better passenger comfort. They've got 4 speakers. This last year, I did a ride through Glacier National Park. If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely watch that video. I did it on a Road Glide Limited with my wife. It was absolutely perfect. Last but not least, you've got America's favorite three-wheeler coming back for the 22 model year. You've got the two versions. You've got the Tri-Glide, which is the full fairing with the big tour pack, a lot more comfortable, the infotainment system with the 4 speakers. This is the version of the trike that we sell by far the most. And the second version is called the FreeWheeler. The FreeWheeler is the chopped down minimalist kind of hot rod trike. Both of these models have been offered in the Harley-Davidson lineup for quite a while now. The Tri-Glide came out in the 2009 model year, and the FreeWheeler, I want to say, came out right around like the 14 or the 15 model year. These bikes both received a pretty significant upgrade. I want to say it was the 2019 model year. They basically got the RDRS a year before the rest of the touring bikes got it. So all your traction control, your torque drag slip control, the 6-axis IMU in there. So the trikes got a pretty dang solid upgrade in the 2019 model year. We'll see if they have a CVO Tri-Glide this year. I don't know if they will or not. They've had one for the last 2 model years. Both of these bikes, the FreeWheeler and the Tri-Glide, both have the 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 in there. I think I'm about due for an in-depth review on both of these bikes actually. So if you're interested in learning more about the trikes, be looking for the in-depth model reviews I'll probably be producing here in the next few months. So that's about it for all the carryover models, guys. That does represent the bulk of the models that will be offered in the 22 model year. Things to be looking for in the global launch: we still have yet to see the Lowrider S. We still have yet to see any of the CVO models. And we'll see what kind of brand new, never before seen models that Harley-Davidson pulls out of the hat this year. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, be sure to leave any comments you have in the comment section below. I'll try to get back to everybody. If you're looking for a new Harley in Southern California, hit us up here at Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson, where we have absolutely no added dealer markup and no extra dealer fees. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to check out all my Harley-Davidson future content coming every week. Thanks a lot, guys. Later.